Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bradcast, and I am your host, Brad Gandel with Century 21 Everest. And today we're going to be talking about the title business, the title industry. Some may think it's not the hippest, sexiest title in the world, but I actually think it's one of the more underrated topics we're going to be talking about. Personally, I know a decent amount, but I don't know a whole lot, and someone who's going to help me explain it better to you guys is Megan Sullivan from Consumers Title.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. So you are officially the Executive Vice President, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Amongst other job titles that you have there?
Yes, many different jobs.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, very cool. So how long have you been doing title? How'd you get into it? And you really worked your way up the ladder, right?
I sure did. Yeah. Well, I was raised in this business. My mom has been an escrow officer 35 years now. So I used to have title reps pick me up from school, take me to my mom's office so she could cut commission checks, things of that nature. So I really have been doing this ever since I was born.
A little different nowadays.
Yeah, a little different nowadays. We are held to a lot with our SB 133 ruling. But other than that, I got in about 10 years ago and have just loved it. I love servicing all the clients, the agents, the knowledge. Every day is something new. And with this, I just continue to keep growing and informing different clients and agents of all the things that they need to be aware of if they do not get title insurance.
Okay. So then you were a title rep at first, right?
Correct.
So, and that's where you guys really help the realtors expand their business with preliminary title reports, all that fun stuff.
As soon as you take a listing, we always recommend that you open up a preliminary title report. Reason being is so we can look at any defects, any issues that may be found on that property immediately. Because as you know, agents can get a 10-day close cash buyer. And if you've got a 30 or 60-day issue, it's going to delay you and you're going to lose that buyer. Yeah. So I recommend always opening a prelim with us as soon as you take a listing.
Getting those liens paid off or any transfer taxes that they may not know about.
Correct.
I completely understand, completely get that. Okay, so this is going to be a very kind of broad question. What exactly is title? You kind of briefly just touched on it and what you may do at the prelim, but overall, what is title? What do you guys do, and what does it really come down to in terms of real estate?
Well, for title insurance, what it is it's a one-time fee that you pay. Mm-hmm. If you're a seller, you pay it once, telling the buyer that this property is free and clear, and a buyer will pay it once based off of their lender, based off of their loan amount. With that, it's a specialized insurance that protects you and your mortgage lender against any issues that may have been found on the title search, such as ownership or real property issues, different challenges like past ownerships that may still be on your title that you have to now take care of. It's, as you know, buying a home is one of the largest investments anybody does in their whole life. And what this does is this protects your largest investment and making sure that you have no issues that you're going to have to take care of down the road because of somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And that's when that's owner's title insurance, right?
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, funny story. I've had clients on the actual purchase agreement. It says owner's title insurance optional.
Yeah.
And I've had clients and sellers call me and say, "Hey, Brad, what is this optional insurance you have to pay for? Or we have to pay for?" And it's tough trying to explain to somebody. It's not really much of an option. It's more so, hey guys, few extra bucks. It's gonna protect you way further down the line in case there's stuff that you may not know about. Because some people may be living at their properties for so many years. They may have PACE liens, HERO liens, solar, some other lien that maybe a contractor put on the house when they did work years ago.
Yep.
So this protects the seller a lot more than they actually think. And it's not really that expensive or too much more than
No, it's really
title.
not. So what it is it's based off of the sale price. Mm-hmm. So for the seller, it's going to be based off of the sale price.
And then to touch on that real quick, prices are state set, correct?
Correct.
So no matter what title company, whether somebody uses Consumers or another title company, they're always going to be the same.
Correct. Now, there are different underwriters and different fees. They can range anywhere from $200 to $300 difference based on the underwriter that you're using. We currently use North American, First American, and Old Republic, which is a benefit, so you can shop around and see their rates if your client wants to see the best rates. With that, though, yes, it does say optional on the CFPB had to put that in. Reason being is because it's anything that discloses any premiums that the lender or condition of the mortgage does not require. So we did have a big issue back in the day when this first came aboard, and the CFPB put that in because it leads homeowners and home sellers to think it's not needed, but it truly is.
Yeah, and I don't like how it's written in the contracts and everything. And I understand sellers are already paying a lot of money to sell their house. It really costs a seller a lot of money. And when they see these extra figures start popping up, they get upset. Hey, what is this stuff? And it's only for their protection. It's only to look out for them. What kind of issues can really come up, though, in escrow with
title?
Some of the title, yeah.
Well, first off, there's so many different facets of what we search when we are looking at the prelim. Like I said, as soon as you take a listing appointment, you take the listing, you sign your agreement, I require you to always open a prelim right away. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to give you a heads up. As you know, a lot of your clients are going to tell you that they're clean as a whistle, they've been great, but you know what? A lot of times they forget about a few things, bankruptcies. They forget that they had a child once.
Especially someone who's been there 30 plus years.
Correct. And they forget that they had a child support lien that they haven't paid. There's numerous things we check, which is considered a statement of information. If there's a common name, we clear any liens that may be attached to that seller's name. On top of that, we also check the property. Easements. That's huge, as an agent needs to really look into that. If you have a buyer that's coming in and says, I want this house because I want to put a pool in the backyard, I want to put a mother-in-law suite in the back. Well, if you look at the easements and you see that Edison has an easement for the back 5 feet of said land on both the left and the right of that property, you got to tell them, sorry, you can't build that. Or if there's electrical wires going across the whole backyard, guess what? This property isn't for you.
Which is really common. Not really common, but in the older parts of Simi, absolutely. I know you guys live in Newberry Park. You have that as well. Because there's some older neighborhoods. Thousand Oaks is the same way as well.
Yeah. So as an agent, that client particularly, we did have an issue with that. And the client that purchased the home, the agent did not notify them of the different easements and the different things that were located on the prelim. And from that buyer went to try and sue the agent, but since it was on the preliminary title report,
the agent was covered.
And
actually, what I really like about consumers and the prelims are very detailed, and for someone who doesn't normally read them, it could be pretty confusing.
Yes.
What I absolutely love about you guys is if there's any issue, whether there's an easement or any sort of problem that may be there, you contact me.
Yes.
So if I don't hear from you, it's good news.
Yes.
I'll read through them, but a lot of the times it's more of just, I don't know what I'm reading, but okay, I'll go with that. I didn't hear from Megan, so I guess I'm okay. I guess I'm good.
Our prelims are also all color coded as well. So if you see anything that's in red or bolded, that does mean that that's something that you need to be noted.
Raises a flag.
Correct. And
I think there's blue as well.
Blue, yeah. So we have different. Well, blue is just different taxes if we have a tax that hasn't been paid. Red is more of deeds, any deeds of matter that we need to focus on. Big red flags that you have to look at is if you notice that somebody has took a loan out with a private beneficiary. Your first question is going to say, do you still talk to Joe Schmo? If you don't, and do you have at least something showing that you paid that loan off? Nope. Well, it's going to take us a long time to try and find Joe Schmo.
I gotcha.
So a lot of different things you want to look at, especially with title. Many issues that come up are errors in public records. Everybody makes mistakes in this world, and a lot of it is data entry. So somebody could be attaching something to your property, and it was just a clerical issue by a number wrong on an APN. It could also be different things of unknown easements, unknown encumbrances, different boundary and survey disputes. There could have been an undiscovered will. A lot of times there'll be a false impersonation. We're having that happen a lot nowadays with elderly people as well. So somebody will own a property free and clear, and somebody close to them will say, hey, why don't you take this loan out, and they'll sign their name. So with that wasn't that person. Also, there's different things that came up from the previous owner that should have been caught from the title company initially when you purchased it. And if it doesn't, we'll make sure that we go back to that title company and we'll get it cleared for you.
I gotcha. Funny story real quick. So about the false impersonations, this isn't more about false impersonating. You guys will look and see, I think you were mentioning it earlier. So the names of the sellers and the buyers are turned or on the government's watch list, you said?
Well, so what it is we do have if you have to fill out a statement of information if you have a common name. And with that, both buyers and sellers have to do so. Reason being is because if you have an IRS tax lien or you have any issues that need to be paid,
baggage,
let me tell you, the government's going to find you.
Yeah.
So we clear your name by your social security number, the last known 3 addresses, as well as the last known 3 employments that you've had.
I gotcha.
With that, it eliminates, just for instance, let's say in Ventura County alone, we pulled up Jose Rodriguez. There was 5,200 liens on record in Ventura County for Jose Rodriguez. So we need to eliminate all those liens and make sure it's none of either your buyer or seller. And yes, they do also look at the watch list as well. And if somebody does come up that they are on the watch list, it will hold it up until they do their further investigation. And it can hold up your escrow. So that's why I always recommend get your statement of information in right away. Get all your information in, even if you open up a prelim, just so we can get this handled.
So the story I was going to mention is this was a little while ago. It's actually well before I was starting to sell. My dad had an escrow. He had the seller, and the buyer had a very common name. Wasn't anything crazy. I think it was like a something Smith. Anyways, they filled out the questionnaire about their name and everything. Well, sure enough, a bunch of people came up, so title had to clear everything. One person or one of those exact names had actual warrant out for the rest. And it was a pretty crazy one, too. So it halted their escrow for, I think, a solid week and a half.
Yep.
Till they had to actually officially clear his stuff.
Yeah.
So trying to tell the seller, yeah, your buyer, we think he's good, but we're making sure he doesn't have any official warrants on him or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny to hear. And like I said, that happened a little while ago. That was well before I started selling. What do you enjoy most about this business, and how has it really helped you, create relationships and everything like that further in life?
Well, with this business, every single property is different. Especially out here in Simi, you've got some really tricky areas like Box Canyon, the Knolls. Mm-hmm. Every area has its own issues. But when we're able to search a property, we're able to tell you all the issues that need to be found. And we come up with a conclusion. We come up with how to get it fixed. And you, in return, as the agent, get to sell that property and your client is happy. That makes our days that much better. Mm-hmm. We're here to make sure that you look good. So we are behind the scenes, but every day we're working to make you look good. That's why whenever you open a prelim, we always let you know, we abstract every prelim and tell you all the things that you need to be aware of. So if your client asks you, you know. And that's our job. That's what we love doing. We take the extra mile. A lot of different title companies don't even tell you, like you said, hey, if you get a call, that's a bad thing.
News.
If you don't get a call, that's good news.
Yeah, I prefer not to have to talk to you. The only time I want to talk to you is if I just run into you or ask you to come in and do this.
Yes, well, and I love that as well. And we also like to help you with farming, different things to better your business. And we want to see you excel and exceed. So if we can get you labels and farm a certain area, or if you've got a buyer that only wants a 4-bedroom single story, 1,500 square foot, we'll get that for you.
Actually, and yeah, I've had clients very specifically, Brad, we need a 3-car garage. We need minimum 10,000 square foot lot with a 4-bedroom home. We need it in between Yosemite and Sycamore, north of the freeway. You guys sent me every single address that has all those criterias. Went out and either mailed it or knocked the doors. Hey, I got someone specific just for you. So being able to actually reach out, and I'm glad you brought that up. That is a nice little touch you guys are able to do for the agents, which again could help not only our business but help find a home that our
Correct.
clients actually really want to get into.
And, we're always here, even if there is not a current transaction opened, or your client calls you back, let's say 2 years later, and says, hey, I got something fishy going on. Can you take a look at this? My mother is in a home and my brother did this. Call us. We'll take a look at it. We're just because we don't have an order opened or a transaction, it doesn't mean that we're not here to give you our advice or to help you and help your client get through this situation they may be going through.
Yeah.
So,
no, well, and I appreciate it. And like I said, it wasn't a topic I felt. I actually feel it's really important, but I think a lot of people just don't quite understand and get what goes on behind the scenes. Because the client comes to us constantly. I'm the therapist, the best friend, the most hated person in the world, whatever you need it to be. But in order for me to do my job, you guys doing everything behind the scenes where you don't get the love or the credit that you should makes me look so much better.
Well, great.
So everything you guys do, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for coming by today. A lot of really good information, and we'll definitely have you on again, and we'll talk a little bit more about it.
all right. Well, thank
All
you,
right?
Brad.
No, thank you, Megan. And you guys take care, and we'll talk soon.
Have a great day.